Last but not least, I did want to use this piece, and I am thinking this could be super cute just hanging down here. It says Wander, and it's got a little key that I've attached to it, and it goes this way, and I'm going to put it down maybe right through the burlap. The nice thing is this can get moved if I really don't like it here, but I kind of do. And then I said I had some of that embroidery thread. We'll be using that to sew in the, I'll be using this to sew this into the, sew my signatures in. But I would love to maybe tie a bow up in this corner. Now, some of you may start thinking, okay, this looks very similar to something I've seen. If you've ever seen Nick the Booksmith, she did one, a very similar cover using a blue indigo dyed fabric that was, that she did a cover. Hers was called Primitive Stitches. I'm calling this one Shabby Stitches. Not to totally steal her thunder, but I was going to do it that way. Anyway, I don't really know how to do this, so you know what? I told you this was not a tutorial. We're going to figure this out together. I just know I need to tie this around something in order to tie a bow. And she did have a bow also in the corner. I just thought that was super cute. And I don't know how to do this any other way. But to make some loops, I want to knot these instead of tying this in a more traditional bow. Actually, you know what? Let's do it a different way. Because I don't have this all attached yet, I think I'm going to poke some holes and we will thread through those holes. Where's my book again? Let's try this way. All right. We're going to go, let's go up in here. All right, so I'm going to poke a hole through here, and let's poke another hole. I like things on the diagonal. I think a lot of people want everything all squared up. That's just not how I work. And then I have one of these needles. This will work. I think I'm going to use a thicker needle though. Now to do embroidery thread, now you understand this is a bunch of little pieces of thread. It can all be pulled apart if you're doing embroidery. However, I'm keeping it all whole. I do not want to pull this apart. So the way you would do that is you put it over something and then do it that way. Now I am going to go down this way, if I'm thinking about this correctly, and then come back up through this hole on this side. And then I can simply tie the bow once I have the thread through it. All right, I think this is way too long. Let's do some adjusting here. I can always cut some of this off as well when we're done. Let's cut this about there. And this will fray as well, but now I have two holes and now I can actually tie this into a bow. Do a little bit of adjusting. Let's tie this into a square knot. Dun, 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 dun. That may or may not be a square knot. No guarantees. All right, and then I'm going to take this and make this into a bow with a knot. And then, I think that's too big. Let's make that a little bit smaller. Oh, let's make this quite a bit smaller. Let's bring it way down. And then I think I'm going to put two more bows here. And then again, I'm going to glue this so that it hopefully will hold. All right, those got too small all of a sudden. Those are way too big. And I have little short fat fingers, so that is not helpful at all. I'm going to grab a needle because I want to make these a little bit bigger now as well. I think I can pull these back out again. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Will they pull? Not really. Well, that's okay. I think maybe we'll do one more knotty thingy with one more bow, and I think I will call this good, if I can do this. Let's see. My little fat fingers are not wanting to make this work. May have to do this in a more traditional bow. And then, there we go. All right. Ooh, kind of liking and digging this look right here. All right. Okay, let's make that a little bit smaller and this a little bit smaller. And I'm going to cut this down, and we're going to do some glue. Pull that down just a little bit more, and definitely a big old dab of glue on this. I'm kind of running it all over it. There we go. All right. I think I'm going to declare this done for now, and we're going to move on at this point. I still would love to use this piece up. I got to figure out how to do that. Okay, so what we do next is I'm going to cut all these little threads on the back side because we really don't need these sticking out. They just make a mess on the back. And so I'm just going to cut some of these off. The rest of these can hang out on the sides, which is fine. But for now, I wanted to kind of neaten up the back. We are ready to glue this piece to the front. And I am again going to use my Fabrifix and apply this liberally to the back over the cardstock. Again, anytime you can throw some glue over stitches, do that. It kind of helps keep them from coming back out again. And glue around where things may be sticking up is also helpful. So around those little parts there, we want to go all the way out to the edges because we don't want this to come loose. And we want to make sure we're getting all the way around the edges, all the way in the corners. All right. We are going to glue this puppy down. Oh, that's kind of a cool swirly pattern that's happening there. Yes, I know, squirrel. It's okay. All right, we're going to center this amongst all of the other stitches. Pull those out, pull these out. Where are these? Pull these out as well. And I think that looks really good. So I want to unfold my cover real quick and just give this a good press. You've got too many little pieces on here to actually go back and use a brayer, which you know me, love my brayer. But I think we've got this pretty well pressed down. Now, one more thing we need to do before we sew in the signature. This is going to be a single signature soft cover. I need to put 2 closure pieces on here. For this, I am going to grab my crocodile. However, if you don't have a crocodile, you certainly could use, oh, here we go, use some other pieces. I'm kind of digging through. I have definitely some bigger pieces, and we want to use something bigger because what I'm going to use to close this with is some apricot dyed seam binding, And I just grabbed my crocodile, there it is. And I'm only going to put one hole in the front and one hole in the back. I want to do a 3/16 inch hole. So I do want to actually measure this. There's a lot of people out there who don't need to measure, and I say, good for you. I want to measure this. So this is about 9 inches. So I like to put mine just a wee bit higher than the center. So I'm going to go with 4 1/4 inches from the top instead of the 4 and I want it to be inside of this stitching. And then I'm going to put one also on this side. Move that out of the way. I'm going to put another dot on this side just inside of the stitching here as well. 4 1/4, about right there. And that's where I want to punch my holes, and then we're going to put our grommets in. And I think this is a super cute look. All right, let me line this up. And just real carefully. This is not doing what I want it to do. Hold on. I'm not even sure I'm in frame. Oh, I actually am. What do you know? All right, so I bring it down real slowly to make sure I'm not cutting any threads or going where I don't want it to go. All right, there's one hole. And then I'm going to do the same with the back hole. Got more threads. All right. And come down real carefully and poke another hole. So now I have my holes, and I need to, this is set for a very small grommet, but I need to set mine for a much bigger grommet, and I think that's the right size, but there is a way to know. There actually is a handy dandy guide that actually comes with your things, with your crocodile if you get a big bite or if you get one of the smaller ones. So I have a 3/16 eyelet, and so I need the A and the 1. I'm going to double check that. Yep, that's the 1 and that is the A, so I have that set up correctly. Then I'm going to grab a couple of these. And I don't want the bright, bright, shiny ones. I want the ones that are a little bit more dull. We're going to use these. They look a little bit darker and not quite so shiny. And we're going to put these in. And then I'm not going to tie the actual ribbon through until the very, very end. All right, let's do that and that. And, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do it this way. Poke that through, push that up into that thing. Now, there should be a loud chomp sound. Okay, wasn't that loud. But now I have that eyelet in there. And I have this eyelet I'm going to put down through here. I do not have the washers. You can get some with washers if that is, if you want to have the backs look very neat. For me, I'm going more for a vintage kind of look anyway. And so if the backs are flowered like that and it shows, I'm okay with that. If that bothers you, you can cover it with something as well. And there is the cover. I may have to play with this a little bit to get it to stay where I want it. There we go. Now our cover is done. And I'm going to move on to actually doing the signatures. So I'm going to clean up my desk a little bit. I'll be right back and we'll sew that signature in. All right. Before I do the signatures, I want to, because if you know me, the backs of books should neither be blank nor boring. I finally figured out how to use that piece of fabric. So I am going to take this. we're going to glue this down, and this will be for the back. Maybe, oh, you know what? I think I like this side better. And I don't know. I'll play with it and see which way I like it better. Maybe we do it this way, and then I want to glue this piece over top. Can't really tell that that's music. Maybe a pointless piece, but I kind of like how that helps make that stand out. And then we'll glue the heart to the top of it. And that just might work. Let's see how it looks with this. You know what? That looks a little bit better. I think we'll use that instead. Again, process, not tutorial. Remember, process, not tutorial. So you're actually hearing me think out loud as I'm doing this. Okay, I would like to put that there. I'm going to, oops, oh my. Glue's got all kinds of stuff stuck to it, as usual. Yes, music. Music is very important in my life. I've sung in choirs, choruses, bands, all kinds of things. Most of my life, my mother tells the story that when I was 3 years old, we drove from Arizona to Texas. And she said, I literally sang the whole way. I made up all my own little songs, and I never sang the same song twice. So, yeah, that is me and music. And plus, my mother was a music teacher, so I know how to read music. I did learn that. I had to. My sister actually got good enough that she actually got to use a different piano teacher, but not me. I never got that good. So I'm going to try gluing this down just with little bits and dots and see if we can get this to stick. I want to make sure I get right out on the edges so that things don't catch. And I think that is going to be the important part. All right, I think I have enough glue sufficiently on my fingers. And we're just going to glue that right there. Oh, I love it. All right, now I'm super happy. We are going to go ahead and add in the signature. So one of the things I took the liberty of doing was putting together a signature. I'm going to use my signature sewing cradle that I made, and I will put a link below if you would like to make your own. And we're going to put all of this now together. And the advantage to doing it all together in one, poking the holes all the way through everything, is that there's a better chance that everything is going to line up correctly, and you won't have papers that are in the wrong places or anything like that. And so I want to make sure this is seated all the way down and into this first. All right, I kind of start in the middle. I am just simply going to eyeball this and drive this all the way down through there. Then I like to come in about that much. And then I'm going to come in about that much. And then I'm doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I like to have the two end ones a little bit closer together. So I'm going to drive that pokey tool down through all of that, and then again about the same distance at the top. Now that I've done that, oops, sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. Now that I have done that, I'm going to take my length of this embroidery floss, and I'm going to measure it. And I want this to be a little bit on the long side, so I'm going to measure it out 3 times the length of the book. And I'm going to grab my other scissors. We're going to tie a bow on the inside here. So I'm going to start from the inside, and then we'll go to the outside. All right, so to do the 5-hole pamphlet stitch, you go in and pull this pretty long, and then you go next you come through here. It's kind of like weaving. There we go. And then this goes right out here. And so because I did everything all together, now everything is lining up correctly. Now we're going to come back through this hole that we just went through. And then we jump all the way down to this hole. Okay. And if I need to, I may have to readjust things, and that's okay. That happens sometimes. All right, and I got that through just about everything the first try. Again, like I said, if everything is all lined up and you do it all at once, it makes this whole process so much easier than maybe trying to use some kind of a template of some sort to try to get everything. Now, I just happened to do that, and it happened to actually come out on either side. You want it to be on either side, but as you can see, this is very uneven. So I am going to go back and pull this quite a bit so that I have more thread to work with. And this is what I was saying, is you can adjust things. Whoops, I think I went the wrong way. There we go. I'm going to adjust things. You can pull your threads so that you have equal amounts. Oop, that twisted around itself. Not quite there yet. I may have pulled one too short. And they got twisted up. That is one of the problems with embroidery floss, is it wants to twist up on itself. And let's see, which one is this? If I pull that, okay, we're going to pull that back just a wee bit. And then pull that down this way. Pull this one this way. Okay, well, all right. This looks like this could turn into a series of just pulling things back and forth, trying to get it right. And we could be here all night. So I think what I'm going to do, hang on, is give this one more little adjustment, see if I've got this right. That is pretty darn close. I'm going to take my needle now and pull one of these to the other side, as well as we are now going to make sure that everything is good and tight. So I always flip it over and just make sure that these stitches are tight as well. We don't want anything to come loose. And then I simply knot this. So right over left. I'm teaching you a square knot. Yes, I teach merit badges. Left over right, and that is a square knot. Then I tie a nice bow into the center here, and now we have a nice bow, and that is making all this. The last thing we need to do is I'm going to grab, if I can find it, I have an 18-inch ruler, and I want to use two 18-inch pieces of this for the ties. So we will get the ties cut here. Ooh, I actually found the end of this. I like to keep this in a mess like this so that it will stay wrinkly, because I want it to be wrinkly. So there is one. And then I need to cut another one that's about 18 inches long, because we're going to double this. I'm kind of fudging it a little bit. It's a little bit more than 18 inches. You may want to go as much as 2 feet, but I feel like that might be too much. Now, we're going to simply, I'm going to fold this a couple of times so that it will go up actually through the grommet. And let's see if we can do this. I may have to get a pencil and help push it. Nope. Then we simply take it, loop it through this way, and we have that side. We're going to do the same on the other side. Going to get all of that out of my way. So what I did again, I took it, I folded it in half. I folded this then in half, and then folded it one more time so that this would hopefully all fit through this grommet hole. And now we have our ties, and we have all our pages in there, and then this just ties into a bow to help hold everything shut. Now, I have not done any decorating on these pages, so the next part will be making all the ephemera for this gorgeous journal, and that is what it will look like, hopefully. Again, I need to work on this. We'll get that fixed so that it goes the way I want it to, because right now it's fighting me on a whole lot of different things. But anyway, that is the cover. So we've done the cover. We've sewn in the signatures. Oh, you know what? I was thinking I may put this lace down the back. Hang on, let's look at that. I may or I may not. I definitely for sure do not like that lace. Let's take a look real quick at some other options that I have. I have this one that looks like a sweater, and that is super cool looking, but I think that's going to be too big. Let's try one more. Let's go back to this one. And this would then cover up these stitches on the back, and it would look really nice. So let's see what that looks like from the front. Yep, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. So I'm going to do this on camera real quick. One of the things I like to do is actually run the glue along the edges here. This will help hold the stitches in as well, and it won't hopefully all come out. And so trying to get all the stitches out of the way that I have already on here. And this way then I can add the glue down the center. Then I go back and glue the edges instead of gluing it all at once. That way then I can put all the parts together equally. All right, this needs to line up right on top of those strings. So it's easy, it's kind of easy to figure out where it needs to go by just doing a little bit there. Pull these out. So if you can see the pink, you don't have it lined up quite right. And then I'm going to stretch that up just a little bit there. Now, last but not least, I do want to put a little glue along these edges. And I just like to put it right along the edge, not too much, just to glue the edge down. And that's just a wee bit there. And just real gently tap it down. We're not trying to move it. That's the biggest challenge. We don't want to move our lace now that we have it all lined up. You can kind of see the pink through that. That's actually very pretty. And then we're going to do this side. And then comes the fun part. We are going to decorate the inside of this journal. There we go. Now it looks finished. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, anyway, if I do say so myself, I think this turned out really well and beautiful, and I'm sure the person who will receive this will love it as well. And on to embellishments. See you next time.